Good morning, boys and girls. Today we are going to be continuing our lesson on measurement. Remember, we had started looking at measurement before we went on our break. Now, boys and girls, remember we said that on a ruler, we have one side that is called the inches side, and when you flip it around, you have the centimeters. The inches has wider space between the numbers. The centimeters, the space between the numbers are shorter or smaller. So let's look at our inches. How many inches are on our ruler again? 12 inches. And how many centimeters are on our ruler? Approximately 30 centimeters. All right, or 35 centimeters. Okay, boys and girls. So we are going to be looking at this piece of tape that's on our worksheet on page 26. And it says, use a ruler to measure the length of the piece of tape in inches. So we are going to be measuring the length. So it's a section that has the widest space between the numbers. And remember, boys and girls, some rulers have a 0 at the edge or close to the edge. Some ruler just have a little line. Do not start at the 1. Remember, we start at the very edge where the line is, or the 0. The first line you're seeing, or the 0. And here it says 3 inches. So what is the length of the tape? You would have 3 inches. It says, use a ruler to measure the length of the pencil in inches. What is the length of the pencil? Inches. So you're going to be using the wider section again. Line it up at the edge where you can see the first line, or a 0, and it is 5 inches. Use a ruler to measure the length of the shoe in centimeters this time. So you're going to be flipping your ruler around. Start at the first line you're seeing on your ruler, and it is 6 centimeters. So what is the length of the shoe? 6 centimeters. Use a ruler to measure the length of the fish in centimeters. So you'd find the section of the fish that is showing the longest part of the fish. And it says in centimeters, so you start right here. First line you're seeing on your ruler, or a 0. And it stops at 7. Very close to 7. So that is 7 centimeters. So we're going to move across here to page 27. So I need to flip this around. Flipping this around real quick. That's 27. What is it asking us to find for the first one? Use a ruler to measure the length of the string in both inches and centimeters. So since it's asking us for inches first, we're going to go with inches first. What is that showing? 2 inches. So we're flipping it around, so you write your 2 on the line. Flip it around for the centimeters, and we do the same thing, but this time in centimeters. 5 centimeters. Now, do you notice? It takes only 2 inches, but 5 centimeters. Why? Because the centimeters are smaller than inches. Look at number 6. Use a ruler to measure the length of the rectangle in both inches and centimeters. What is the length of the rectangle in inches? So you're using the wider space. And it is 4 inches. So you write 4 beside the word inches. What is the length of the rectangle in centimeters? So you use smaller space. That's 10 centimeters. For problem 6, Did you write different numbers for the length in inches and the length in centimeters? Explain why. Remember that the inches have a wider space, so it takes less inches than centimeters to measure. Centimeters have a smaller space, so it takes more centimeters than inches to measure. All right, and now I'm going to flip this around to page 28 real quick. I should have printed this one page. So now it's asking us to circle the objects that are easier to measure with an inch ruler and underline the objects that are easier to measure with a yardstick. Now remember, a yardstick is 3 feet long. 3 feet long for our yardstick. So 3 times this ruler that I have in my hand. I thought I had a yardstick around. Somebody must have borrowed it. I'm not seeing it. But remember that it takes 3 of this to make a yard. So if this is 12 inches, 3 times 12 would be what? 36 inches make a yard. Okay. So would you measure a bike with a yardstick or an inch ruler? You got it right, a yardstick. So you would underline bike. What about a book? What would you use to measure the book? Inch ruler or yardstick? Inch ruler, so you circle the book. What about a leaf? Inch ruler, so you circle it. What about a sticker? Inch ruler again, so you circle it. What about a table? Think carefully. Think of a regular not a small table. I know some tables are small, but think of the table that is in your classroom. What would you measure? Try to visualize. Or look in your house. You may have a table there. Yes, you would measure it with a yardstick. So you're going to underline. And it's the same thing for number 2. Circle the objects that are easier to measure with an inch ruler. Underline the objects that are easier to measure with a yardstick. So what about a window? Well, some of you may have yardsticks, some of you may have ruler, because it depends on the size or the length of the window. It might be a big window, you would use a yardstick. It might be a little window, so it might be easier to use a ruler. What about a marker? This one, you won't have any options for this one. The marker, the inch ruler, little cracker that you eat. Yes, you have it, the inch ruler. What about a blanket? The yardstick, so you'd underline the blanket. What about a tent? Tent that people go camping in, or a big tent that they may have some exhibition, some things on display. Yes, you would use a yardstick for that. Now this one is asking you to estimate. An estimate is when you guess, but it's an educational guess. So you're going to guess it to the nearest inch. Look at this rectangle. And this ruler has a 0 at the beginning. So you line it up. You notice they did not put the rectangle at the edge of the ruler. It is lined up with the 0. Now where it stops, is it closer to 2 or closer to 3 inches? Look where 2 is and look where 3 is. Good. It's about 3 inches long. We use the word about because it's an estimate. It's not an exact measurement. So the rectangle is about 3 inches long. So we'll move over to page 29. And page 29 is asking you, what is the length of the baseball bat to the nearest foot? Now look at your measurement. Now look at how these rulers are lined up. Are we supposed to have them lined up like that? Overlapping like that? No. Remember when we just started to measure, we said that our rulers must not overlap and they must not have a space. Okay, they must touch at the edges. Now this is showing us that our baseball bat is lined up here where our 0 is. And it stops where it says 2 feet. Oh, I'm giving it away. Let's look where it stops. What is written there? 2 feet. It's about 2 feet because the rulers are not lined up exactly at the edges where they touch, that overlap. What is the length of the branch to the nearest foot? Look at the branch. It passed 1 foot a little bit, so it's about 1 foot long. So boys and girls, I would like you to complete the next page on your own. So you're going to be doing page 30 on your own. Have fun working. Miss you. Bye.